We have all lost a friend, a family member, or a person that we knew at a workplace. Death comes with a sting, and the closer the victim, the harder it hurts. Death is something we all encounter and recognize. Yet what puzzles us about this frequent event is the uncertainty about the condition of the dead. It is remarkable that even among people of faith, there is more disagreement than clarity on this issue. On the state of the dead, Christians have the benefit of the clear word of testimony. The Bible clearly states that man returns to dust at death. This is confirmed in Genesis 3:19. It says, "By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you will return." There is no excuse, therefore, for those that intentionally teach others that those who die immediately go to heaven to their reward. It is a sin to bear false witness or to tell lies. Here are just 5 texts that teach us what state our beloved dead ones are in, and it makes sense. They are asleep in their graves, no consciousness whatsoever. Number 1, Psalm 146:4. His spirit departs, he returns to the earth. In that very day, his thoughts perish. Number 2, Ecclesiastes 9:5. For the living know they will die, but the dead do not know anything, nor have they any longer a reward, for their memory is forgotten. Number 3, Daniel 12:2. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awake, these to everlasting life, but the others to disgrace and everlasting contempt. Number 4 is what Jesus actually taught on the state of the dead. Listen carefully. John chapter 11, verses 11 to 14. This he said, and after that he said to them,
Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go so that I may awaken him out of sleep.
The disciples then said to him,
Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will recover.
Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought that he was speaking of literal sleep. So Jesus then said to them plainly,
Lazarus is dead.
Number 5, Luke writes in Acts chapter 7, verse 60. Then falling on his knees, he cried out with a loud voice, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. Having said this, he fell asleep. And number 6, Paul writes these words in 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 13 to 14.
But we do not want you to be uninformed, brethren, about those who are asleep, so that you will not grieve as those who don't have hope. For if we believed that Jesus died and rose again, even so God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep in Jesus.
Now listen carefully, dear friends. These verses state as a matter of fact that death is a state of unconsciousness or sleep until the resurrection, that the dead have no thoughts, feelings, or awareness, and that they will not receive their reward or punishment until they are raised by God. The use of the metaphor of sleep is to describe death and show that Jesus has the power to awaken the dead.
Lazarus, come
They
forth!
also encourage the believers to have hope in the resurrection and not to grieve as those who have no hope. As I have shown, the Bible clearly teaches that the dead are asleep in their graves, not in another place. If someone persists in teaching otherwise, they are contradicting the scriptures and doing 3 things. They are tarnishing God's character. They are accusing God of lying. They are making the Bible useless as the source of all truth and putting human words above God's truth. Here is the simple truth about those who die. They rest in the sleep of death. They return to dust through the biological process called decomposition until that beautiful resurrection day when Jesus will come back to claim his own. When we die, we don't go straight to heaven or hell, but stay in the graves in a state of a dreamless, unconscious sleep until Jesus returns to take his faithful ones to heaven. This is how our Lord made that assurance. John chapter 14, verse 1 to 3.
Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And when I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, that where I am, you may be also.
The wicked ones, however, stay in the graves until the second resurrection, to be cast into the lake of fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. This is called the second death, in which there is no resurrection.